Hey, folks, it is Bob Rapp here. It is Saturday, September 13th. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon. Getting a little bit of a late start. I have to get the dogs out to walk, go to the farmer's market, hang out with some of my friends, doing some work in the community. So here we are. And a couple days ago, I was with Shalini, who's a colleague of mine, who's just wonderful. We spent some time down at the office in Mountain View. And we did some vibe coding very quickly because I was hanging out with some other coffee geeks who are really interested in having better coffee. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to take through a slightly different process, which is a product called Chat PRD. Again, it's one of the Lenny's bundles. And so I took the same, if you go back and look at my YouTube channel just before this, I did a prompt that said essentially I want to build it was a one-shot app. So I want to build an app that helps me understand the kinds of coffees, what the grind would be, how much strength, the weight, 23 grams versus 30 grams, how much water, that sort of thing, from the top YouTube experts. And then I would like to have a community feedback function. And then I also added, based on some feedback I got from a few friends, the notion that we can raise some money with this. So donate to the to a charity of your choice, right? So that focuses on women and children issues, education, clean water, that sort of thing. So I took that, and I want to remind you that Chat PRD is how you write a product requirements document, and I won't go through it in detail, but I said, go ahead and take the document that I had, which came, by the way, from Perplexity, a little bit from Claude Code, a little bit from my brain. And then it said, here's the TLDR, the goals, user stories, functional requirements. I won't go through all those. If you're not comfortable with those things, though, it is really important in the software development process to know what all those things mean because often in vibe coding, we start in the middle, right? So, how do we write code that actually is code that we could deploy for users at scale that's safe and all of those things? So, won't go through all that again. I think if you're friends and we've been talking about this for a while, you get it. I use James Hoffman, Lance Hedrick, Morgan Eckroth, Seven Miles Coffee, Seattle Coffee Roasters, certainly my favorite humans on the planet. I love you guys. You're wonderful. Artisty Coffee Roasters. Those, by the way, are also some of the top YouTube sites. So it said, hey, I've done this stuff. There's some other things. Do you want me to reach out to the creators? Do a Coffee Chef AI kind of brand? Do you want it to be a web app or iOS native? I said web. Sorry, oh, I'm tired. Do you want to do the Amazon affiliate? No, I don't think so, not yet. But maybe do Seattle Coffee Gear directly, right? And then do you want to do some thumbnails and other stuff? So what I like about Chat PRD is I can open in V0, Lovable, Bold, or Magic Patterns. And Magic Patterns I want to go to first because Magic Patterns is probably the coolest place to get ideas of how other people are doing things. So uh, we came up with and I won't go through everything we did, but we came up through an welcoming wizard, welcome to the chef. We have brewing guides, we have AI recommendations, we have community enthusiasts, and we can make a difference in your community. Okay. By the way, pretty good UX. Certainly a better UX than I would have generated on my own. Um, I like, by the way, there's a high level of accuracy, not a whole lot of creativity here. I mean, I like the pictures. They all seem pretty good, pretty paired. And if I like, for instance, advanced AeroPress, maybe I'm going to go view that guide. It says before you start, here's what you need to do. Here's how you prepare the equipment. And if you've done that, right, then you can go to the next step, uh, right? So add the coffee, go to the next step, bloom the coffee, which means let it kind of hang out for a bit. Go to your next step. Do your first pour. Go to your next step. Second pour. Go to the next step. And it even times each of these. Because I think about putting this like in the coffee room, maybe down at the office, so people can actually have better coffee. Because coffee, you might notice that my shirt often says coffee, right? So you get that. So, some AI recommendations. Now, by the way, I've stubbed the APIs, the application programming interfaces, So it's not actually going and doing these recommendations yet. It's stubbed and ready to do the code. Okay. Then give feedback in the community and also help the community, a bit of both here. And then go do a latte art workshop, right? Join some events. Now, these are just sample events that we could have, and join a discussion group because I think community matters. Human in the loop always matters. This is a journal of the things that I said I've done. Okay. Now I'm going to go into Bolt. Similar, by the way, expression from that same PRD. We got a slightly different interface. We're going to have sample videos, AI recommendations, community, and donations. Okay. Lovable, pretty simple, pretty similar. Now with Lovable, I can do things like connect this to my Bob Rap GitHub, which is a good thing to do. Um, I like, by the way, the interface here with the Coffee Chef. I just kind of like that stylistic. It feels kind of clean, which is what I asked for. I could try an AI recommendation. So it said I can start an AI session here. I can talk to a chatbot. By the way, this is a chatbot. This is not an agent. It has no abilities to do anything. Now, I did have a coffee with a porpoise, and it did coffee with a purpose. It thought it was a typo. I was actually thinking literally of what raising money for aquatic causes. But again, I love puns. And then here's the creators, and you can actually view the courses that we would propose to do with, say, James or Morgan or Scott. They're already, by the way, very famous. I'm not suggesting that they would think this was a great idea to work with this, but they might. They seem like good folks, right? Um, what's interesting is V0 kind of didn't do well at all, but that's okay. It's just a demo. What I like here is when I deploy this, I can deploy this to a custom domain. I can export this to Figma, FigJam, that kind of stuff. I can download the code as I did. I can copy the code as a prompt. That's pretty interesting. I can even fork this. But what I obviously will mostly do is sync it to my GitHub, right? So I'm going to go to my Bob Rap repository and I'm going to go ahead and sync that. Um, and I like to do that, by the way. And I typically just have these things open in my repository because I'm just trying to show examples of what to do. Remember that vibe coding is a cool term. Vibe coding is kind of starting in the middle of the project. So go back and look at the other things I talk about. Vibe rant coding. I rant a lot about this. That's all really about the whole topic of um, really good engineering practices as you do vibe coding. So I hope that was helpful. It's always fun to see all folks and reach out if you have questions, and maybe at some point you can join me in a conversation about vibe coding.